Hello everybody and welcome to my new series. I'm going to be doing one on Kerbal Space Program. It's one of my favorite games that I have. I'm not an expert by far. I mean, I'm not a beginner. I have probably a couple hundred hours into this game, and I played somewhat, mostly the. I've done sandbox. I've done career. I haven't done the science mode yet, but I've done some playing in this. Like I said, I'm not an expert by any means, but I want to do a series on this. I want to do a career mode. I think that's the most fun, personally. Sandbox is fun just to play around in, but career mode is my favorite. I do have several mods installed, probably close to 100, and I'll review. I'll let you know. I'll give you a list of the most important ones. I'm doing say I have like fly-by-wire installed because I want to fly my planes and aircraft with a controller instead of mouse and keyboard. Mouse and keyboard is very difficult, in my opinion, to fly aircraft in this game with. So I finally got the keyboard. I'm sorry, the controller working with that add-on. It works really well too. I highly recommend it. I have the B9 parts packs. Most of them I'm using Better Science Labs. Chatterer, which is fun because it gives you kind of like a chatter sound, like space communications from spacecraft to ground control in the background. I have the several contract packs because some of the contracts in the game become repetitive after a while. So I haven't played with that one, so I'm eager to see how that goes. I have one called Duna Direct, which I've never used before, but it supposedly gives you a lot of parts and equipment to land on Duna with, which I hope to do in this career playthrough. I'm sure I will. I have one called Earn Your Stripes, which I think it changes the spacesuit from like a beginner to a veteran spacesuit as the Kerbals progress. Environmental visual enhancements. I have one called Final Frontier, which gives Kerbals individual merits, basically like ribbons that they wear for their missions, like the military uses. Kerbal Alarm Clock, of course. Kerbal Engineer. I have one called SpaceX. It's supposed to give you SpaceX craft, or SpaceX-like craft. I'm sure it's like Falcon 9 and their, what is it called? Their capsule, Dragon capsule, I think. KW Rocketry, MechJeb, although I don't use that too much, just when I have to. Mission Controller, Mark II and 3 parts. Near Future parts pack, which should be interesting. I don't have the engine one, though, the electric engine. I just picked some of them. There's one called Progress Parser, which gives you completion rewards for doing certain things. ScienceAlert, of course, which is very helpful. ScienceAlert, it's like X-Science. It tells you when science is available as you're in a mission. Full Science Transmit, which I found really ridiculous in the base game, where if you transmit your science, you only get partial science for it. So I thought that was kind of ridiculous. So I have a mod that gives me full science credit when I transmit. A Fairings mod, one called Space Age, which tracks progress of important events in your campaign. So you can go and look and see what you did on what date, and like I said, it's for important events. I have a parts called Space Y parts, mostly heavy lifters. Space Station parts, expansion packs, Waypoint Manager. I have several other little ones that add little things to the game, like I think there's one that gives you fuel evaporation on the launch pad, rocket plume, just different stuff. Far too many to list here. Anyway, let's start. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to go back and make sure that my settings for my gamepad are working. Oh wait, I don't do it here. I do it in the game. Never mind. We'll take a look at it in the game. You can look at advanced fly-by-wire in the game and configure it there. So since I have so many mods, there may be a delay when going from screen to screen. Hopefully that's not too much. So let's start a new. This is going to be career mode. Let's call it just career. I don't think I have one named career. Difficulty. I don't really mess with these much. It sucks when you have a rocket fall back down on your facilities and destroys them. I don't know if I want to turn that on. I've never really had problems with that much. I think once I had a rocket fall back down on the launching pad and I had to rebuild it. Stock. Some of these I don't really know what they do. Missing crew respawn. Reverting flights. Yes, I do that in the career mode. I do sometimes revert flights because I'll mess something up. And it's really easy to do. So hopefully that's not terrible for the viewers. I suspect that most people do that. That they don't live with. There's some mistakes that the rocket, you actually do something and you accidentally hit a certain button, or you go a little too far on your gravity turn and your rocket falls apart. Sucks when that happens, and then you got to start all over. So I like allowing reverting flights. I just basically call them sim flights at that point, and then the real one is what it actually completes. So I don't mess with the starting funds or starting science, starting reputations. There is one, though. I don't remember where it is. These are some of the difficulty settings for some of the mods. I forgot what ABCORS is. I can't remember. This one. No, is this the one? There was one where you can set. Where is it? Okay, this is the Earn Your Stripes mod. Allow pilot veterans, allow science veterans. Okay. This is the B9 procedural. There was one where you could set kind of some basic. Oh, here it is, re-entry heating. I don't have a whole lot of problem with it. Every once in a while I'll have a craft coming back into the atmosphere that for whatever reason it loses control, burns up. That sucks. Then you have to redo the mission. I'm going to turn this down just a tad so that doesn't happen, because mainly it's sure I like it a little bit challenging where you have to do things right, but I don't like it where I have to redo the entire mission. I will be saving, doing quick saves before re-entries, just in case. Comm network. I think that's it. This is the space age. This is the one that keeps your track of your accomplishments. And I haven't really messed with that one much, so I'm going to leave this the way it defaults. So, Kerbal flag. Let's see, what flag do we want? That one's kind of cool. They have the rings, NASA flag. I think some of these are like corporate flags. We don't want that. I kind of like this one. This one's pretty cool too. I think we're going to go with that one. It looks kind of NASA-ish, but a little different. Alright, let's start. And like I said, it's going to take a little bit more time than normal to load the screens. I do have some graphics mods, but what I'd like is something that updates Kerbin a little bit. I know I got one that has clouds mods. This is Gene Kerman, who's modeled on Gene Kranz, the famous Apollo 11 flight. What do they call them? The flight leader, the one who was in charge of the flight at Houston. So this isn't a beginner tutorial, it's just a career mode playthrough, but I will be referencing a few things that may be interesting to some people, that some people may not know, some people will. So if you know some of the things that I talk about or try to explain, just try and ignore me. Okay, we're going to go to Mission Control, and this is going to be a little different, because like I said, I have the contracts mods in place. So we have, as you can see, this is a little different from the base game. See all these contracts here that we can eventually get to do. But these are all advanced, so we'll get to those way in the future. Let's see what's available. Gather scientific data from Kerbin. This says give a quick crew report before launching. So that should be really simple to do. And we get completion rewards for this. Money, science, and reputation increases. So we're going to take that one. That one's easy to do. We just get a crew report from the launch pad before launching. So it's from the launch pad. We'll accept that one. Launch our first vessel. So in order to complete this, launch your first vessel off the launch pad. That's easy to do. Let's take that. Now we have a max of 2. We can't accept any more because we can only accept a max of 2. And to increase that, we increase the level of the space. What is it called? The mission control. You right click, and then you can upgrade it for $75,000 or credits or whatever this game uses. We don't have the money, but we will at some point. Let's go back in here. So escape the atmosphere. We'll probably do that next time. Orbit Kerbin. What is this? Perform experiments around. This is new. Kerbal Space Center. Now Kerbal Space Center, I'm sure many people know, has different biomes around it. So you get mystery goo experiments that you can do, like the runway, the control center, and these are valuable to do because you get science and basically money for them. And we will do that probably with some sort of lander, a basic lander that we construct and send out. Now this is different. What is this? Launch Vostok 1. This must be from another mod. Vostok 1 was the first spaceflight of the Vostok program, and the first human spaceflight in history by the Soviets, I'm sure. So bring Vostok 1 into orbit around Kerbin. I'm not sure. I guess if we go to the... why did I do that? Let's see. Available. Decline contract. Okay, it came back. That was weird. Didn't mean to decline it. So, I meant to go and take a look at the vehicle assembly building. I think that maybe the Vostok 1 is one of those pre-built rockets that we can launch. But we can't unlock it until we get the right parts for it. let's take a look. I know there's lots of... Okay, that's from Steam. Okay, got it. That's interesting. When I was at the... Let's go back. When I was at the hangar, not the vehicle assembly building for rockets, but the one for the aircraft. Spaceplane hangar. Let's go in here. I thought I saw some pre-built aircraft. I was thinking maybe we'd have pre-built rockets as well. So... Okay, they must have left because I do remember right before I started this campaign, this particular campaign, I did delete a few mods, and that may have been one of them. Okay, either way, let's go to the vehicle assembly building and start our first rocket. Now we just have basic parts for now. And probably just a capsule solid rocket booster, and that's all we're going to have on our first rocket. Spaceplane hangar, vehicle assembly building. Okay, that's okay. I'm kind of glad that those aren't there anymore, because there was a huge list of them here, and I wasn't sure, because I want to save some of my own that I built. So start with the command pod. By the way, this right here means that there's like colors that you can color the command pod. It's pretty cool. So we'll just go with the standard. What does that look like? That flag. Okay, that's pretty cool. That's our flag. I like that. Alright, what engines do we have? We have a tiny SRB, but we have this solid rocket booster now. This is a little... Oh, I can make it different colors too. So we can go with orange. Let's go with yellow and white. That looks kind of cool. So the parts are a little different than stock, I've noticed. In the stock game, the Flea solid rocket booster weighs less, and it has a little bit more thrust. But, hold on a sec. But this one has twice as much fuel. I think the stock game has only 100 solid fuel, 100 pounds I think this is. So I got to be careful with that. I don't want to go too far too fast in this one, because then I'll be going too fast to use the parachute. So what I want to do, I did a little test before I started this playthrough, and I went with full fuel on this one, and I went up a little too high, crashed because I was going too fast to deploy the parachute. So let's limit this to 100, and then I think I want to limit the thrust. Something simple. We don't need anything huge. We're not trying to get out of the atmosphere on this. We're just launching it. So I just wanted to go up a little bit and then come right back down. So we're going to limit the thrust to 50% and the fuel to 50% of normal. And who do we want to pilot this? Jebediah, of course. He's the famous astronaut from Kerbal Space Program. Alright, so this is pretty much it. I don't think we have any sciencey stuff yet. We have a flight unit, computer flight unit. What does this do? I don't know what this does. I think it records data for us. Yeah, it's a hard drive, so it records data. I don't know how to use it yet. We do have some Mr. Goo. And I think the contract said... Where's the contract? Recover or transmit any science experiment data from Kerbin. Okay, and I think that's going to be a crew report. Launch your first vehicle off the launch pad. Okay, so I don't think we need science for this first run through, but do we have any no, we don't have any communication stuff yet. We don't have a whole lot of anything yet. What I'm really gonna have fun with is when I go to the space plane hangar, one of the parts kits gave me parts to do a biplane, which is kind of cool. And we're gonna do that. Now, there's not a whole lot here as far as science, technology, communications. We do have the mystery goo. We could do that from the launch pad, I guess. Let's see. Maybe we could do one from the launch pad and one while we're up above ground, I think. Or we could do those later. Yeah, for now, let's just do the basic stuff. Let's get these 2 contracts done. So let's launch. And it usually takes, 5-10 seconds or so to get out to the launch pad. Maybe more. Boy, what's this going to be like when we have large rockets? What I might do is, if this gets really lengthy in the videos, I'll probably cut this out. Okay, that's Chatterer you're hearing. The mod Chatterer. It gives you those sounds like that. Okay, so let's check our staging. We don't want the rocket and the parachute to be going at the same time. The bottom ones are the stages that fire first. So you could have the staging platform, the staging area here could be really deep. You have several things going off, like an engine, decoupler, another engine, decoupler, another engine, whatever, and parachutes. Remember, the one at the bottom is the one that goes first. This is doesn't matter about the throttle here because it's a solid rocket booster. You can't turn it off. We have it set for 50% limited thrust anyway. What do we got? Oh, that's right. See, this is the science add-on. And it lets me know that I can do crew report, EVA report. I'm not doing the EVA report yet. I don't know how I would get back inside. If I did that, I'd probably fall off. And although I don't know, I haven't. There's a rail here. I might do this next time when I can transmit it back to the Space Center. But right now, you can only do one EVA report at a time, from what I remember. Unless you have a place to store them. I know you can get out and then like go to the mystery goo container, get the science, take it out, and store it in the capsule. Let's do a crew report here. So we get 1.5 science for that. And we can't transmit because we don't have a transmitter, so we'll just keep the experiment. I won't do the EVA report right now. We're just going to hit the we'll do that next time. Let's launch and then come right back down. I'm going to hit the SAS, which is the stability control assist. Keeps my rocket from wobbling all over the place. Okay, we're at almost 200 meters per second. Altitude 3,000 meters. So nice controlled Easy flight, almost out of fuel. We're not going too fast. And we've run out of fuel. Alright, let's see how high we can go. And there's the moon in the distance. Kerbal, the sun. And we can see little communities out here. Clouds. Not many clouds today. Alright, we're still going up. And now it looks like we're gonna start coming back down soon. So I want to deploy the parachute before I start going faster than 300 meters per second. Because if you're going, I think it's 300 meters per second, your parachutes, let's go ahead and deploy it. You don't want to be going faster than 300 meters per second because it destroys your parachutes. It rips them off. Basically, you're going too fast, and it just shreds them and rips them. Okay, this should deploy. There we go. Eee, that was a little late. Wow, I thought that was going to crash there for a second. It didn't. Parachute didn't fully deploy until very late. Anyway, I think actually I can do an EVA here. Let's do that. Okay, so Jebediah is just holding on. Actually, it doesn't look like he's holding on, does it? Looks like he's just floating there. So let's get an EVA. Did I do the EVA report? Okay. I don't think a spacesuit was entirely necessary to get here, was it? Well, no, it wasn't. But we do get 2.4 science out of this. We'll keep that experiment. And let's go back inside. And let's recover the vessel. It's really quiet. Okay. So, here's the mission summary. We got 1.5 science for the crew report from the launch pad. EVA report. What is this? EVA report from Crawler Way. Okay. We'll do the launch pad next. So recovery of a vessel that survived a flight. 5 science. So we got 8.9 science earned from that. Our science is up to 18. We recovered all these parts. And Jebediah has gained 1 experience. And this is the Final Frontier mission summary. This is what I thought would be really cool. These are the ribbons that Jebediah earned. Award for being first Kerbal taking footsteps on Kerbal. Probably not. Being first Kerbal landing on Kerbin. Award for any altitude record above 10,000 meters, or 1,000 meters, and award for any speed greater than 100 meters per second. So here in 4 ribbons. And I believe, okay, yeah, it shows all of your pilots, all your astronauts here, whether they're pilots, scientists, or engineers, and what they've earned. So we also have the operational service ribbon, awarded to any Kerbal completing at least a single mission as a pilot. You can filter with dead Kerbals, active, etc. So that's nice. Here's a list of ribbons, and there's lots of them. Lots and lots of them. Again, this is a Final Frontier add-on mod. Okay, so we have science. We have 18 science. 112,000. I'm going to call these credits because I don't know what they are. $112,000. That doesn't seem like a lot, does it? I mean, rockets cost millions of dollars. So we'll just go with credits. And I guess credits are worth more in Kerbal than dollars are on Earth. Oops, that's not where I wanted to go. So now we have to wait a little bit more. I want to go to the Science Center and spend our science money. Do I want to save this craft? Probably not. Although it'd be kind of cool to name them all, because the what is it called? The Space Age add-on tracks all that. So if I go to the Space Age add-on, is this it here? No, that's just an object enhancement. It's another one. Is this it here? Yes. So it'll say untitled spacecraft landed on Kerbin. Instead of that, we should give it a name. Research and development. Okay. So we're basically going to spend our science on these two beginning areas. Basic rocketry, which gives us liquid fuel engines and rocket engines, plus other parts from other mods. Different fuel tanks, smaller fuel tanks, solid rocket. This is a SRB I haven't seen before. I think it's a tiny one, but it'll be fun to use. So let's research that. And then engineering, which gives us science stuff. Mobile processing lab, some decouplers. This is a magnetometer boom, so you can do more science with that. Thermometers, decouplers, and the communicatron, which we need the radios to do some transmitting science experiments instead of storing them. It's just easier. Instead of getting out of the capsule, going to get the goo, removing it, bringing it back to the capsule, just transmit it. Okay. Now, transmitting has its own set of problems. We need electricity for that, so we need a way of storing and building electricity. Where do we get the batteries? I forgot. Is it electric? Basic science. Here we go. Battery packs. So until we get the battery packs, we're going to have to rely on our engines to produce electricity. So we have these two. We have 8.9 science left. We can't buy anything else. This is 20, 18, 15. But we have a bunch more parts, so we can do better rockets. So let's go to the mission control. Now we have several different contracts that we can choose from. Haul a parachute into flight. Now we already have the Mark 16 parachute. And this just says haul it into flight above Kerbin. That should be simple enough to do. Here's the flea. We want you to haul the flea. That's the one we just did. So we could basically do this rocket again and just get more money and more science for it. Test the decoupler at the launch site. So all you have to do basically is put the decoupler on your rocket and then perform the test. Activate the part through staging. So it could be just it could be a rocket that's not going to take off. Just hit the decoupler on your staging and you're done. This one, this is you test the decoupler when splashed down in the water. Liquid fuel engine splashed down at Kerbin. So you have to basically splash down with it intact and still have rocket fuel. Test the solid fuel booster in flight. I wonder if we have enough to upgrade our contracts. Hold on a sec. Let's go back. We can upgrade this, although we can't do it yet because we need money to build rockets. So let's find some of these to do. let's do that one. Haul the Mark 16 parachute into flight. That should be simple. And the solid rocket and the flea again. Let's do that. Should be simple enough. Basically, it's the same thing we just did, only we get a little bit more science for it. Because now we can transmit some science from the launching pad and while we're in flight. And we get to test these two things that we're going to be using anyway. So we'll just use the same rocket, and let's call it something. Let's call it the, something like, I don't know. I don't want it to be just like starting capsule or whatever. Just give it a name, like the flea. But something maybe not as hilariously stupid. This rocket will be named I'll think about it. But for now, let's put on some communication. Science. Now we're going to go next with the processing lab and get some science. But for now, we're going to do this one again. And we need a communications device. Where are the parachutes? Is this still the only parachute I have? I think so. I do have the thermometer. Let's put a thermometer on so we could do some testing. A couple thermometers. Put one there, so we can get temperature readings while in flight and on the pad. I'm going to do that later. What is this? Oh, these are more hard drives to store data. I haven't used them yet. I might test them in another playthrough, see what they do first before I use them on this playthrough. Where should we put this? Here. We only need one, really. And it's so lightweight it shouldn't interfere with the flight. Shouldn't. Alright, so we got goo, experiments, thermometers, and we can transmit that stuff. Wish we had batteries. We have the decouplers we can start testing. Do we want to... No, I don't think so. We'll do those later. That's that biplane engine. When we start building that. Okay. So, staging... Basically the same thing. Let's pick another astronaut. Let's put Valentina in there. Give her a little experience. And is that enough, I think? Make sure our contracts. Okay, so Mark 16 parachute. This is the Mark 16, yes? Yep. Have Mark 16 parachute on Kerbin, flying altitude 2,000 to 10,000 and speed 110 to 290. That shouldn't be a problem. And then the flea, altitude 10 to 16, speed 160 meters per second. I didn't see what the speed was last time. We're going to do kind of the same thing. The thrust limit. I don't want to be going too fast or too far. This should be good. I mean, just by flying, I think we'll hit these. We're gonna do 10,000? I don't think we reached 10,000 before. Huh. Can we reach 10,000 with the flea? I don't know. I think we got up to like 7,000 or 8,000 last time. Maybe not. Maybe we should give it a little bit more fuel. Like 160? That should be good. That'll get us up there, I think. Alright, let's give it a try. I think I'll cut these out. This is a little too long to wait on the next episode. Alright, so we have some science we can do. Mystery goo observation. Temperature scan. So let's do those. And how much electricity do we have? We're going to need... Let's save that one, because we don't need to... We're going to keep the mystery goo on this craft, so we can keep the goo in here, and it'll stay there when until we land, and we can collect it then. Let's do a log temperature. Keep that. Experiment. So we'll do these two in flight. And what else? EVA report? I guess we could do one on the launch pad. Let's transmit that one. What does it say? No in-range comm. What does it say? Crew report. Let's go back in. EVA report from launch pad. I think. Review stored data. Okay, this is the EVA report from the launch pad, and we can't transmit it because why? Oh, it's starting transmission. Oh, we have to be inside. That's right. Okay. There we go. Our electrical charge is almost dead, but that's okay. It'll be recharged with the engine. Okay, so now I might turn that down a little bit. That beeping. That can get annoying sometimes. Like, make it less common for that to happen. Alright, so... let's go, I guess. See if we can reach... Let's leave that up. And see if we can reach these goals. Okay, we can do Mr. Goo. Oops, let's turn on the stability control. Keep that. Temperature scan. Keep that. Okay, we need to get up to 10,000. Can we do it? I don't know. I was hoping putting a little bit more solid fuel in there would get us up to 10,000. Speed 160. Maybe we can get up there. Although we might be going a little fast when we do. Yeah. Well, we got one contract done. So, what I'll do... Oh, we got it. Oh, between 10,000 and 16, speed of 1.6. Okay, great. Okay. So I think I'll deploy the chute here pretty soon. Let's do a crew report and keep that. Hopefully this isn't going to be going too fast. Looks like we're speeding up. I don't want to... Ooh, okay, we're slowing down. That looks a little fast. Okay, there we go. Whew. Okay. I'll be glad when we get the bigger chutes. Okay, we're slowing down, which is good. Deploy that chute. It usually deploys it at 1,000. See, that seems really fast. Makes me nervous. Almost hitting the... going that fast, that low. Okay. So... what do we have in terms of electrical charge? We don't have much at all. Okay. So we can do another EVA report, but this is going to be a different biome. But I can't transmit it. I don't have enough electrical power. So we're going to not do that. But we did get our 2 contracts fulfilled. So let's go back, recover the vessel. And Valentina seems to have probably gotten her awards. Probably the same ones, although she went a little farther. And look at all the science we got. Crew report while flying over Kerbin. Mystery goo on Launchpad and flying Kerbin. Temperature scan. Temperature scan from Launchpad. Got to keep track of where we're getting all these scans from and what biomes. That can be a little, I don't know, daunting sometimes. There is a way to track it when we go to the Science Center. So we got 22 science earned. So we have 37 total. So we could probably get 2 more science research areas. And she got some XP. Valentina. 10 or more science points, altitude record, and speed record. So if we look, there's our Kerbals and their awards. She has award for researching 10 or more science points. Oh, I see. First Kerbin surface EVA ribbon. So only one person, Kerbin, will get these. First landing on Kerbin ribbon. So Jebediah is like Yari Gagarin, I guess. He gets a couple of ribbons that nobody else will get. First to do things. Let's go in the research center. How many science we got? 37. So we could probably get a couple of these. I'm not sure which. We'll probably get the general rocketry, although we already have enough in parts to get even more science without getting these. Because we have the processing lab, and we can go a little higher and farther with the liquid fuel engines. I I'm going to wait a little bit on this. I want to go see what contracts are available first. What is this? Collect science about mystery gear observations while flying at Kerbin. While flying. Now, is that like an aircraft? Flying low, yes. Okay, so we'll get to that at some point. Decoupler at the launch site, that should be easy. Okay, what I'm going to do, I think, now is I'm going to review this, see where I want to go, look at my science, look at the contracts, see which ones I want to take, and then on the next episode we'll come back and do the next experiments and launches. So this is the end of part 1. I hope you enjoyed it, and come back and see part 2 as we continue our career in Kerbal Space Mode. Kerbal Space Program. Kerbal Space Mode. Again, hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. See you next time.